I think that means we're live. Guys, today it was Ready Steady Potato, and I'm not sure.
Pota Potato means live.
That was our countdown. Potato means
Oh,
live. So if you are a couch potato, at least you're alive. So
perfect.
welcome to Don't Worry. With that, welcome to Don't Worry Wednesday, the show where we talk about whatever concerns you, whatever is on your mind. We aren't professional psychologists or psychiatrists or psychoanalysts, analysts or psycho powers people, um, or policemen, but or fishermen, or many other things.
I like fishing though. Fishing's great.
Yeah, we can think about psychology, but it doesn't mean we're professionals.
Hmm
And we can think about fishing, doesn't mean we're professional fishers.
hmm
That's just how it is.
Because if I wasn't fishing, I was wishing I was fishing.
Is that a song? Or did you just make that up? That was pretty good.
No, I think I saw it's a bumper sticker or something.
Oh, okay. That's
If
fair.
I ain't
That
fishing, I'm wishing I was fishing.
I can see that on a bumper,
Yeah,
especially here in Michigan.
yeah,
Really, people in Michigan love to fish.
yeah. We got these
Yeah.
big lakes,
Oh yeah.
and then lots of little ones too.
Mm-hmm. They're freshwater lakes, so you can fish and drink right out of them, same time.
Mm,
No one does it though,
mm,
because you
mm.
don't want to drink it. Really, not without purifying
That's
it.
yeah.
The fish drink it, and we eat them.
Disclaimer.
It's
I
gotta
did
be.
learn, actually, this is kind of gross, but I learned in my wilderness survival class. Yes, I took wilderness survival in college. It was wonderful.
Oh, that's
But
awesome.
I did learn that the composition of freshwater fish and saltwater fish are opposite from their habitat. So, because like when we sweat, it's salty, right? So
Yeah,
generally, we're, we're freshwater people. But so what you can do, like if you're stranded at sea, and you're thirsty, you cannot drink salt water
correct.
because it will make you more thirsty, right? But if you happen to catch a fish, you can wring it out and drink the water that comes out because there is fresh water in a saltwater fish and opposite in a freshwater fish.
That's wild.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Thanks,
Yeah.
Joe. That's amazing. I'll keep that in mind if that ever happens to me.
Next time.
I can also ring out an owl. I catch one.
Yes, you're welcome for
Um,
that random thought of the day. It's not even free for all Friday, and I'm coming
yeah,
up
you
with
guys are
random
getting some good
weirdness.
information here. With very little investment. Okay, anyways, so yeah, this is the show. How you doing, Joe?
I'm good. Hope
Yeah.
everyone's
By
in
the
a
way,
strange place tonight.
oh yeah.
It's the countdown that did it.
What countdown? It's
The
not used yet.
countdown Jesse gave us. I was gonna submit
Oh,
that as a topic.
oh,
Like,
okay. Yes, we need that's one of our concerns. Our major concern is, hey, how do you deal with weird countdowns, such as ready, steady, potato?
yes.
Um, does that give anybody else anxiety? No. Anyways, I think that we're gonna have fun tonight. This show is to help you guys. We are just basically trying to be friends, lift up your spirits, and help you out where we can. You know, we lived lives and made a lot of failure mistakes ourselves, so hopefully we can help you avoid some of those, as well as give you some of the conventional wisdom we've learned along the way. Um, and so with that, feel free to post in the chat, send a message on Discord, send a message to our emails at bss at dww at bss.studio, or go to our website, bss.studio. And you can post on the Don't Worry Wednesday topic there. There are many ways, many avenues to which to contact us. The easiest way is right here in the chat. Princess is helping us all out by writing those down for us and keeping us on track. And she is our chat room hostess and does a lot of behind the scene works. Jesse is our, I always want to say host because he's hosting it. Producer, that's the word I'm looking for.
Mhm.
Producer. And Joe is the star of the show. Joe, what did you do today?
You're the host of the show. What did I do
I'm
today?
the star. You're the star. I'm the host.
I went to work and I missed Taekwondo. My last chance
Oh,
for
bummer.
a class before my last test
Ooh,
in the color belt ranks. My next test is in December this Saturday I have a test as a recommended black belt, and then in December I'm testing for my first degree black belt.
nice.
But today I missed my last class, my last possible class that I could have taken to get some extra training for my test that's on Saturday.
Was there a white belt ever?
Mm-hmm.
Was that in the colored belt section?
Mm-hmm. That's the first one.
Okay.
Because
So
all
black is not a color,
colors
but
make white.
yeah, black is not a color, but white is.
Black, well, black is the absence of color. Black is the absence of light.
Yeah.
And white is the combination of all colors. Because if you shine white light at a prism,
hmm
all the colors come out, right? But if you shine a black light at a prism, wow, I've never done that before.
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually. You still get colors because it's a black light and it's not black. It's violet. Ultraviolet. That's great. Um
Yes, black eye fat lip is totally right. It depends on whether you're doing lights or pigments, because probably a
yeah,
combination of all colors and pigments would be black, or
black.
at
That's
least really,
exactly
really
what I
dark
was
brown.
thinking because it's like it's still a color because it's literally all the colors put together when it comes to a pigment.
Hmm.
Um and white is an absence of pigment in
You're
that
right.
case.
You're
Actually,
right.
that's not true. White isn't an absence of pigment. See-through is an absence of pigment. White is still actually a pigment.
Really?
Yeah. Because if you have no pigments, you're actually purely see-through. Have you ever seen like a spider that's you can see through his entire body,
Hmm.
or
Well, I
like a
have hard
tadpole?
time seeing those.
Yeah, or a tadpole, or whatever. You can see through their fleshy stuff. It's because they haven't gotten any pigments in their skin, so they don't collect any sunlight. Um, it all just goes right through their body, and they don't warm up. A lot of like there's a lot of sea creatures that do that in order to stay at the right temperature because they
Hmm.
don't want the sun to warm their body. And then
Hmm.
other fish have grown and evolved to have pigments in their skin color in order to grab the sunlight to stay warm.
Hmm. That's very interesting. We live in
Yeah.
such an amazing world,
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we
an
do.
amazing
Fish that you can
universe, really.
drink
Yeah, I know.
and fish that you can see through.
It's amazing.
Yep.
There's all kinds of great secrets I could teach you from wilderness survival, but I won't. I'll save those for Free for All Friday or something.
I'm excited to learn more about that. But let's get on with the show. Um, so, what do we have here? I'm going to go ahead and read through this list of people. If you're here, let us know in the chat, and we will hopefully be able to get to you today. I'm just going to head down the line in order of the time we got them. We've got Royal, Sevlev, SK, Awkward / Pika, Helmarok Hero, Pear, Kaneki, Saule, Ash, Yume, an anonymous person with the title of their talk, or sorry, their wow, I can't think of words today. Separation of self. That's their topic. There we go. Baka Breaker and Ash. So I can see immediately Ash, Baka Breaker are here. I'm guessing
And
others.
Pear is here too.
Pear is here as well. Okay, yeah.
And
Okay.
Saula, I saw Saula.
Saula. Yep, Saula was here earlier, at least. Okay, looks like Pear would be first in the order of things here. Double checking to make sure Hero hasn't responded, because there's a possibility there. Okay, I'm gonna go with Pears. All right, so Princess has linked in the chat the topic for you. If you guys want to go ahead and read along with us, you can click on that and read along. This is for Pear. It's entitled A Hard to Reach Dream. And Princess is going to do the honors of reading it for us. Thank you.
You're welcome. For years, I've been struggling on what to perceive as my purpose. Lately, I feel that I have found it, to inspire and make people happy. I want to be a creator, an entertainer, someone who gives people general support through content. But I'm not quite sure how to do that, if that makes sense. My dream is to be an entertainer, but there are so many ways that one can be an entertainer that I feel like nothing's original anymore. I want to become myself and to help other people around me, because that's who I am and who I've always been. Static P is an entertainer and is basically someone whom I've been looking up to because he is who essentially I want to work to become someday. I want to create a long-term goal and to start off for myself, to help myself so I eventually get there. Small things I do every month, day, week, or whatever, to work towards becoming who and what I want to be. I've been really struggling on figuring out how to create that long-term goal though. So I wanted to ask Static P for some advice because he is essentially the kind of person with the kind of job I want to become. And maybe he could have some advice on how to get there. From the lovely Pear.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Very cool, Pear. I appreciate your kindness. And honestly, you have been very kind and appreciative and just amazing and humble since we've met you. So keep that up. I think humility is an important, very, very important thing to have, especially before you start getting any fame at all. Because you can see what happens to people who don't have humility, but they get the fame, and kind of how sometimes that can really make for a bad life. But anyhow, thank you so much, Pear. This is a great topic, and I'm excited to share some stuff on this, but I'm also looking forward to see what Joe has to share on this kind of stuff, because he's one of the main people in my life that inspired me to do what I'm doing now. So I'm sure he's got some really helpful and valuable things to say. So take it away, Joe.
Well, I'm going to turn it back to you in quick fashion here, Ryan, because I agree with the last statement of Pear's topic here. So I wanted to ask Static P for some advice because he's essentially the kind of person with the kind of job I want to become. And maybe he would have some advice on how to get there. Last time I checked, you did not do inspections today, but I did.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That happened.
Yes. So
I used to do inspections.
I know. And you found your way out of that, which is great. And, I'm looking forward to learning how to do that as well. But I will say, first of all, Ryan, thank you for the kind words. I mean, if anything that I said or did to inspire you, I'm honored, to play a part in what you have become. I mean, it's
you led the way. I just followed you, man. It was just that I followed you a little bit harder than you followed yourself.
So. Well, there's other life choices.
Yeah, there's all sorts of different things going on in the background to make things happen.
Yep, that's true. So, but anyway, I did want to talk about one thing and in here, because I felt the same way for so long as you, Pear. When it was up toward the top. My dream is to become an entertainer. But there are so many ways that one can be an entertainer that I feel like nothing's original anymore. I remember feeling that same thing. I remember feeling like, okay, all the songs, I'm a musician, right? And so I'm like, all the chord progressions have been used before. All the melodies have been used before. There's all these things have been used before. But you know what? There are infinite combinations of sound that you can use for music, and the original thing that you will bring is you. Tuck that in the back of your mind and remember that, because there is no other you. And whatever personality you bring to the table in whatever form of entertainment you choose to pursue, whether it's video or audio or art or writing, whatever it is that you're going to do to entertain people, whether it's on YouTube or through music, whatever it is, the original factor is going to be you, your personality. Have you noticed there are lots and lots and lots of different people that play Minecraft on YouTube? Lots and lots of them, right? Some of them are popular, some of them not so popular. Lots of them. and they're all playing the same game. They're all like doing the same stuff. But you know what they bring to the table? They bring them to the table. It took me like 40 years of my life to learn this, because I was trying for the longest time in music. I analyzed the science of making hit music, like how to make a song that would then be radio friendly, listener friendly, something that would find its way to mainstream music, right? I analyzed there is a science involved in how to craft a song in order to get to that, that would be able to even qualify to get played mainstream, right? There are formulas involved and there's all kinds of stuff. And I would analyze that and I would try and write music adhering to those formulas. And what happened was I got so focused on that I forgot about the me component. Now, everything always had my fingerprint on it. Everything was always, it was something that I had done, and so therefore it sounded like me. But the more I got into the science and the formula and just the mechanics of it all, I kind of lost sight of the fact that what I'm really bringing to the table is me. All that other stuff is great. I can kind of help shape things. But the most important thing that I'm bringing to the table in music is me. And the way I learned this was by taking an audio production course. And the instructor said in the course, he said he was talking to audio engineers, people who take other people's music and then engineer it and shape the sounds and make them something that then turns into a recording that then, gets sold or, played on Spotify or whatever. And he said, don't ever forget that you are a critical part as an engineer, as a music engineer. You are a critical part of this production, and you bring something unique to the table. You bring your style of mixing, of shaping the sound. You bring your style of mastering, whatever it is. And when I heard those words come from this instructor in this audio course, it just reminded me of everything that I used to take pride in my music, that it was mine. I was like, man, this is great, because who knew that I could create songs? And then I started doing it and I loved it. And so never forget, there is an original component in whatever you're going to do. And that is you. You bring you to the table. And that's the most beautiful thing you can bring. And so with that, I'm going to sit back and listen to Ryan's advice, and I'm probably going to take notes. So, yeah.
Great. Yeah, thanks. It's kind of funny. I was thinking about what you just said, and it's so fascinating to me that the time where you hear, hey, you're putting yourself in this work, is an audio engineer, which is funny to me because that's the specific part of audio which we consider to be the most analytical, the most calculated, where it's not purely math, but it's a lot of like logic. This is what I want. There are certain ways to get that sound. Let's do that. It's a very, very step-by-step logical process. And yet what you end up with is something different than what other people would make. I've heard many audio engineers, they produce stuff and you're like, yeah, this has a certain kind of sound to it. It's, kind of shaped to this person's, what they like or what they hear in it or what they want to bring out, their shape, their particular equalizations and things like that. Yeah, it's like their style. So I just think that's really fascinating because that would be the most, like, of all of the stuff you can do with audio, mastering and engineering, that those are the things that you would think, oh, I don't have my fingerprints in it, but yet he's saying you do. And I think that's awesome. Anyhow, aside from that, I really like where you're going with that, Joe. And I kind of have something along the same lines. Pear, you are actually talented in a lot of things. You can do art, right? You can do some awesome voice stuff, right? And you have a good personality. You have a kind personality. You look out for people and you start to figure out what they like and what do they want. Those are awesome and key components to doing anything like I'm doing. If you want to be a YouTuber or entertainer, I would say don't be a YouTuber, be an entertainer. The difference being YouTube staples you down to the platform, and you don't want to be. You want to be able to go beyond just a platform. Like, for example, I'm a YouTuber, but not really. YouTube is a stepping platform for me. I make more money on what do you call that? Spotify. I make more money on Spotify than I do on YouTube, so I'm a Spotifyer. I'm just not though, right? So yeah, it makes sense to be like, I'm a YouTuber when you're super famous and that's your only career path, but you don't want it to be your only career path. As an entertainer, as a musician, as a artist of any type, in any of those fields, any of the artistic fields, you end up becoming your own business. I guess you're in charge of your own business, I should say. You're like your own business entity. Anyways, that aside, you are already talented and capable. It's just a matter of getting out there and doing it. Here's the thing. Make what people like. And you say, well, I don't know what people like. Yes, you do. First of all, you are a person that looks out for what other people like. You look out for good in people and you really compliment them. You try to do things people like. But here's the thing. If you want to do what people like, do the things that you like and entertain people with those. Why? Because if you attract a crowd of people who like what you do, then that's easy because you can continue to do the things that you like to do. You can do the things that people like just by being yourself because you are a likable person. On YouTube or any other platform, it's the person a lot of times that we fall in love with. It might be like, for example, I'll write a song and people go, oh my gosh, I love this song, but the hardcore fans, they like me, right? They hear like 3 of my songs and they're like, oh, I really love Static P. He's awesome. I want to know more about him. And they look me up, right? And that's the way it goes. So the main thing is to be yourself. And by that, I mean, do the things that you like. Put the stuff out that you think other people will like. Because if you think they'll like it, it's probably because you like it yourself. And if you like it yourself, they're probably going to like it. If you have that attitude, that will bring out the best in your work, right? Whatever it is you choose to do. And the thing is, you can do, as an entertainer, you don't have to focus on one thing. You can focus on so many things. For example, I started out on Static P channel doing art, a song, video, story writing, right? Those are 4 things just to create one video, right? But it's a lot of talent of many different things put together. And as an entertainer, the more of that you can do, the better, because it doesn't limit you and you can keep on going with many different things. So if one day you feel like doing art, do some art and share it. If one day you feel like singing a song, sing a song and share it. If one day you feel like writing a story, write a story and share it. The thing is, you've got to just make sure you share it. A product isn't finished until it's out into people's hands. That's the bottom line. The main reason why you have so many people who are musicians that never make it is not because they don't try. They work hard, they try hard, but they fail to finish. And it's a sad tale. But the number one thing that sets people apart from like a regular musician versus a professional musician, or someone who's successful and someone who isn't, is just hitting that last bit of race line till they finish. It's actually taking their song and going, okay, now it's done, and I'm sharing it. Because a lot of times what people do, and I've done this a lot, is start like 50 songs and never finish one of them. It happens to a lot of people. It happens to all of us. We have to finish what we start and make it work. So basically, once you finish it, then you make it work, right? So you take your product and you say, who do I market this to? How do I sell this, right? So if you were making a vacuum, right, you would know who you were going for. People who need vacuums. If you're being an entertainer, you know who you're going for. You're going for people who want to be entertained, right? But what kind of people are going to like you? That's something you have to figure out along the way. Here's the main thing that helped me out on YouTube. It's my number one success principle on YouTube that I can possibly say. And it's this: narrow down your target audience. Who are you selling to? And make that target audience as small as you possibly can, and only target those people. Because what's going to happen is now all those people who are in that niche group are going to be able to find your stuff. Everyone could like it, but it's a matter of getting enough people to find it at first to make it actually show up on everybody else's page. Because here's the thing. If I just say, oh, I've got music, everyone likes music, everyone's going to like my stuff, and I put it on there, one person's going to find it here, another person's going to find it there. Maybe even 10,000 people find it, but they're not even related whatsoever. They're like, this person likes watching race car videos, and this other person likes watching Minecraft videos, and this person likes watching fishing videos. We don't know where this fits in. There's no way to categorize this. So YouTube just goes, oh well, and doesn't give it to anybody. Just shares it randomly and hopes maybe some people catch on. But instead, if you target a small audience, mine was anime, right? And that's not really small, but at the time when I started, it was a lot smaller than it is now. It actually grew quite a bit over the last several years. But mine was anime, and mine was just like, I'm writing songs I'm creating content, that's new content for anime. That doesn't exist out there. And they're going to be story songs. So all of my songs are going to be stories, and they're going to be anime. So it's two things to make a very small niche, right? No one's doing that. And so then I did that, right? What happened was YouTube caught on. It said, oh, hey, this person watches anime and they liked this. Oh, this person liked anime and they liked it. This person liked it. Oh, okay. So let's make this a category. For people who like anime, I'll send them this stuff and see how it goes. And YouTube will do that for me. Similarly, people who like story songs, YouTube can pick up on that aspect of it and go, oh, people who like stories. We'll send people who like to watch short stories and stuff like that. See if that picks up, if those people like this stuff. And maybe not. But that's the thing. You have to try to pick a target audience and cater to that audience. So for you, what I think you could do that could be really successful is you have a great personality. You have a lot of people who already like you on our Static P Friends server, right? You're enjoyable to be around. You're very friendly. You're good to people. You're kind. You point out good things in them. And people just like being around you. So here's what I would do. If I were you, I would take advantage of that. I would make a YouTube channel where I would just spend time maybe doing some drawing or show finished versions of my drawings that are for my fans, that are for people that are interacting with me. I would do my channel, make my channel specifically to interact with my fans, because you would be good at that. Because you have a lot of talents. You can go, hey, I'm going to make a picture for you. I'm going to make a short poem for you or whatever, things like that. I think that would be my approach, because as an entertainer, you can do many things to entertain people. But the thing that entertains people the most is if you talk to them specifically. If you can spend time with people, they get attached. They have an ability to get attached to you far more than if you don't spend any time with them at all. So I hope that makes sense. Obviously, I kind of rambled and said a bunch of different stuff, but those are some pointers. And yeah, I'm going to move it back over to Joe, see if he's got anything else to add to that.
Mm-hmm. That's great information, and I'm going to pick your brain, Ryan, because we're going to be releasing an album, and we're going to have to figure out our target audience and where that's going to have to go to, which is going to be cool. But at any rate, one other thing I wanted to mention here, Pear, is that one thing to remember as you're going down this journey, be in it for the long haul. Be in it for the long term. If you decide you want to be an entertainer, that's great. You totally can. Here's the thing. The world has a way of weeding out who's serious and who's not.
That's true.
Generally called time.
Mm-hmm. And time and drama.
Time and drama. Yep. because you will experience, as you get started, it'll be small for sure, and it'll take some time to really ramp up. So the key then is to continue being consistent with whatever you're doing. Continue working at it, consistently making things public, like Ryan was talking about, consistently sharing new material, whether it's videos or whatever it is that you're deciding to do. Continually, consistently connect by creating stuff, right? And just continue doing it. Don't even pay attention to what your results are as far as your numbers are concerned, all that kind of stuff. Don't even worry about that yet. Because right now it's just you're learning how this is done. You're going to get better at your craft. And it's interesting because you see people are always growing and changing and evolving in how they're doing things. You look at very experienced YouTubers that have been doing this for a long time, and you watch their early videos, and it's like a night and day difference, right? It's because they've done it over and over and over and over and over and over again, and they've continued to do this consistently, and they've grown from the early days of not really knowing what they're doing, and everybody starts there, and that's okay, right? And then as you do things, you learn. That's one of the things that I think is so backwards in the way I was taught in our education system, and I think it's still kind of being taught that way, is that you study, and learn, and then you go do the thing.
Yeah, it's
right?
backwards.
Right, exactly. No, what happens is you do the thing. This is real life now. In real life, you do the thing, and you're like, okay, that was cool. And then you make the adjustments. You're like, okay, I can do this better. I can do this better. I can do this better. It's like you get the test first. And then you look at how the results of the test were. And then you're like, okay, now I'm learning by actually doing. It's kind of like the ready, fire, aim approach. We would spend, I'm a ready, aim, fire person. By nature. That's like I will aim and 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 aim
And then ready again.
and okay, ready, aim, and then fire, right? But really, the idea is you have a target out there. Just start shooting. And if you're missing the target, figure out, oh, I'm this far from the target. Let's get closer to the target. And then you can adjust by firing, right? I remember a buddy of mine who was in the Army. He said that's kind of how it was for like they were using some kind of weapon. And he was like, yep, you just start shooting. And then if you're not hitting the target, you move, you adjust to hit the target, and you aim by firing. And so I would encourage you to take that approach. So just continue to fire, continue to produce, continue to create, and you'll move forward, right? And then aim as you go and try and get better. Narrow that niche down however you can, right? And be in it long term, because it might take you years to get to the point where you're making a living doing what you're doing.
Yeah, don't expect it to be short.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Ryan's been creating videos since what, 2010?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
2010. I mean, there was some stuff before that, even when you were a teenager.
Yes.
I mean, consistently making videos and consistently putting stuff out, on a regular basis on his channel, for, since 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And because you had some collaborations that kind of did pretty good, but then the real big one was It's Not Like I Like You. What year was that?
Yeah, that was in 2017 or something. I can't remember. I remember it was a total of 9 years since the point where I was like, all right, let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
Before I actually ever became able to do it as a job.
Mm-hmm. 9 years. Okay. So, and your timeline may be different than that, but I'll tell you what, if you beware of quick success, because if you have quick success, the temptation is to just stop and be like, hey, I'm it, man. But that's why what Ryan was saying, if you're doing something that you really, really love to do, if you're creating stuff you really enjoy creating, you're going to want to keep doing it anyway. And if you have some quick success, you're going to continue. But then the other side of that is, because if you have quick success and you stop, then everything will kind of crumble and go backwards over time, right?
Yeah.
But if it takes you a long time to be successful, I don't remember I don't remember his story, but one person's story who really inspires me is Walt Disney.
Mm.
He tried and 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 tried for years and years and years, and was broke and lived on his buddy's couch or his brother's couch or whoever's couch, right? and look at what's been created that has his name attached to it now. Theme parks, all this stuff, stores, movies, franchise, all kinds of stuff. It's crazy the enormity of what this guy has his name stapled to, and he's not even alive anymore.
Yeah.
It has outlived him. So it's almost like the longer it takes somebody to be successful, the more glorious that success is going to be, which is pretty cool. So that's another nugget to keep in the back of your head. Don't be concerned with how long it's taken, because your track is your track, and that's okay. But that's why it's important to be doing something you really enjoy doing, like Ryan was talking about, because then you're going to want to stick to it even when it seems to be going slow, or you're not getting the success that you expect right away. You'll still enjoy doing it. You'll still want to continue creating. So, man, wow, I'm impressed, Pear. I'm super excited to see the kinds of things that you come out with, and I'll probably go subscribe to your channel like real soon here. So,
nice.
Anyway, that's all I got. Ryan, back to you.
Yeah. I just want to say, I guess, a couple more things. Just along the lines that Joe was talking about. When I was like, this is what I'm going to do for my life. This is my purpose. This is one of my purposes, rather, is to write music that's for the world, to enlighten the world, to make the world a better place, right? To shine light in this darkness. And so it was basically, it wasn't like, I'm going to do this so that I can be famous. It was what it was. It was never a question of if I would ever get famous. It was just, or if it was a question of whether I would be successful. It was like, basically, I'm going to be doing this, period. Whether I get successful or not, this is what I'm doing. And I will try to be successful as I can be, but I'm going to keep on doing it no matter what. That's just because that's what I feel like I need to be doing. And it's enjoyable. And so it was kind of like Joe was saying earlier, be in it all the way, sort of thing. If this is what you want to do, then you got to be in it all the way. And don't worry about the numbers. You don't worry about the numbers. The numbers will come. They don't change when you look at them. So don't worry about the numbers. Don't worry about that kind of stuff. Just try and keep on going. I like the aim by fire method. Because here's the thing. You cannot become, in the real world, right, outside of school, like Joe was just talking about this, in school, you're trained to take the test. In real life, you take the test first, and that's where you do your learning. So on the job, you get your first day at work, they're not going to tell you, okay, you remember all that stuff you learned in school? No, they're going to be like, hey, remember everything you learned in school? Forget it. This is what we're doing. Literally. That's happens at a lot of people's job. They actually say those lines. They say, everything you learned in school, forget about it. Not that school is wrong, not that school is dumb, but my point is, it
sets you up well. It does. It really does.
Yeah, it does. It does set you up with a lot of really important information. But my point is, when you're on a job, they teach you by doing the job. They say, hey, come to this cash register. All right, let me show you how the buttons work. All right, okay, here comes a customer. You got this. And you're like, I don't got this. You didn't tell me anything yet. And they're like, yeah, just let them order for you. And then they order and you're like looking at the menu and you're like, I am so freaking out right now. I can't even read this right now. I'm so worried. And then your partner next to you will be like, oh, so this says FBG, that stands for fantastic burritos. That's what they're asking for, the whatever I said. And then you click the button and you learn on the job. You learn how to do the job on the job. You learn how to cook by cooking. You can follow a recipe and that would do awesome, but you only do it by actually doing it. You only follow the recipe by actually following the recipe. And so you learn everything by doing it. If you want to be a good musician, you start by writing music. You start by playing music. You don't start by reading books about how to do it or what other people in the past used to do for their writing methods and all this kind of stuff, because that will only delay the inevitable. At some point, you're going to have to get down and dirty with it and start writing or start playing or whatever. And if you're going to be doing anything that's creative, you would just have to start. So that would be my final and best advice to you is whatever it is that you want to do, start now. Just start. Start now and continue to get better as you go. Aim by fire. That's the only sure way to get good at anything. It's practice. And now here's the thing. Like I said, numbers don't matter. Sure. Once you've gotten a talent for yourself and once you're confident in yourself and you can look at what you can do, right? Then you can go back and you look at the numbers and say what's successful, what's not, and then make adjustments from there. But until you've got any amount of success, just keep on firing because you're only going to slow yourself down. Another thing is don't worry about what people say. Don't worry about what people say.
That's
because
key.
Honestly, my best friend told me I couldn't sing. My mom told me I shouldn't be a musician. And she's very proud that I am now. And things like this will happen. Also, if you look at your comment sections, some people are really nasty, some people are really nice. Here's the thing. If you buy into the nice people and go, oh, I feel so late, my day is so awesome. Thank you. And then you read the next comment and they're like, your stuff is so bad. It's so cringy. It completely takes away from everybody else's comment if you give it that weight. If you give weight to the comments that are good, you're going to give weight to the comments that are bad. And the bad ones are going to suck you down far worse than the good ones can lift you up. So don't worry about what people say. Read them and be appreciative that they took the time and respond to them and be kind. And if they leave a nasty message, be appreciative. Again, that they took the time to write something and see if there's anything that they're critiquing that you can be better at. And if not, then it doesn't matter what they say. Just let them go off and find a different video to watch. Who cares? Right. You're not making content for people who don't like it. You're making content for people who do. So worry about the people who like it and cater to them. But anyhow, yeah, I obviously we talked on this for about a half an hour. So hopefully that gave you guys a lot of insight and information and something that could be helpful in your lives.
This is a topic that's near and dear to our hearts, though, because this is what we do at Black Static and Swerve. We want to create media. We want to create stuff that's entertaining, stuff that's fun, anything we can do, and all the stuff that surrounds it. That's what our goals and our dreams are here as well. And so we're kindred spirits here, Pear. And I think that's awesome. And I love what Ryan was saying. And I wish, there's a video that I wish was still up and it's not anymore that illustrates that point so well. And it's one that Ryan had been making videos with a guy named Geen for a long time. And they made this really, really short video. And it was about the dislikes. And it was like, please enjoy our video. And then somebody throws a pie in their face.
And then it just ended.
That was the end of the video. And I was like, that's so perfect because it sums it up so well. It's like you put all this effort and this time and love and everything into making this thing, and then somebody just throws a pie at it.
Yeah.
It's like, but that's what happens, when you put stuff out there. The key is that you did it. It's like Jim Rohn said, the point of chasing a goal is not to hit the goal. The point of chasing a goal is to become a person that chases after goals. Because whether you hit or miss the goal at any given time, you're at least in motion and you're going and you're moving forward. And that's the most important part.
Mm-hmm.
So continue moving forward. That's key. And anyway, sorry, Ryan. I totally.
Nope, we're good. All right. Time for the next topic. Thank you so much once again, Pear. You are a beautiful human being, and hope to see you more soon. So, just in case anyone new showed up, I'm going to go through this list once again, but feel free to write in the comments that you are here if you are. If you're not here, don't write it. That's just confusing for us.
If you're not here... Dab.
Ooh. See you later, Joe. You're not here. I don't know who I've been talking to this whole time. I'm hallucinating. This is weird. Well then, Royal, Sevlev, SK Awkward / Pika, Hemlock Hero, Kaneki, Saule, Ash, Yume, Anonymous, Baka Breaker, and Jesse. So Ash is here. I know that much. Saula is here as well. I'm gonna go with Saula because he comes. Oh, Yume's here as well. Yume comes after Ash. Okay. So it goes Saul, Ash, and then Yume. Okay. Saula, you're up. This one is from you. It's titled "Solving the Problem That Is Ellipses Me." But how? I like this. I like the title of this. I like when ellipses are used in a title. Ellipses are one of my favorite grammatical components of the English language.
I use them all the time in text messages and on Discord. If you've ever been in a Discord chat with me,
I use ellipses all the time too. And you know what? I use ellipses so much that they use them in Japan now. And I'm gonna claim that as my fault. It wasn't me, but they actually have adapted those into the Japanese grammar, which they didn't have before, as well as commas, which is interesting because they used to not have commas either. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and let Princess do the honors of reading this. So take it away.
I have had 2 times in my life where I've been so absorbed in wanting a particular girl. It has always started being a relationship where we both benefit and from being around each other, but it always turns into me depending on them for my identity. I become so absorbed in the fact that I like them that I want to move beyond just a friendship, but it has always gone very quickly from actually loving them to a selfish desire to have them and be in a relationship with them. Most of the time it turns south about the time I go and tell them that I like them, but it gets progressively more toxic. I always end up putting them on the highest pedestal possible. Maybe even higher than God, which is a huge problem. Moving on though, because they don't like me back, and rightfully so, and I am doing everything I can to possibly make them happy. I wind up seeing that I'm utterly failing at making them happy and making them like me. Because I am doing the opposite of making them happy and the opposite of making them like me, I wind up hating myself because I am doing horrible things to the person I care about most. Now, I'm not in a state of hating myself right now. No worries of that sort of thing this Wednesday. However, I do worry about the method that I have employed to solve this problem. I've become a bit of a recluse as of late. I'm an introvert and I struggle to deal with people. Persons are fine, but people are challenging. I've been okay in just interacting with family and my 3 best male friends. I think I've been getting better as a person. Small interactions at car shows, as I mentioned in my previous topic, have helped me develop as well. As for interactions with female friends, well, one of them I want to like, but I have kept the relationship respectable by doing everything I can to not let myself like her as more than just a friend. I have determined that I want to like someone, but I feel that picking someone and devoting myself to her will just go badly again. In conclusion, I don't think my isolationist method will fully solve my problem. It has temporarily solved my depression and is helping prevent me from causing problems to someone else and myself, but I don't think it's a full solution. It is helping me develop as a person, but it won't solve the problem that is me. My question to you is as follows. How do I solve a problem that I always cause when I start out loving someone with good intent, but then twist it into selfishness? How do I solve a problem that is simply me? Thank you. Saule, aka Shinden.
Thank you. Thanks, Princess, for reading that. And thanks for sharing this, Saule. This is great. I can relate to this. I think a lot of us can.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking while I was hearing Princess talk about it, I was thinking about how as human beings, we are part of our identity is that we are animals. We are a mammal, part of the animal kingdom. And we have these, of course, we have these natural desires. We have these human desires and we have these natural desires to be with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting too, if you look back at history, when we started off, we were animals not at the technological levels which we are today. We didn't have schools to attend. We didn't have all of these, we didn't have instruments to play. We didn't have all this stuff, right? Instead, we had, the primitive society, which consisted of a bunch of people who would hunt and gather and then, eat together. And in that kind of situation, romance is an entirely different field. It's a totally different game. It's like completely different than what we have to deal with today. Now we have to deal with social norms and certain ways that we hold ourselves, how we appear to other people based on our own confidence levels, how muscular we are might have mattered back a lot more back then than it is now. How smart we are might have mattered equally. But it's kind of interesting to me just thinking about that and thinking, a long time ago, it might have been actually more simple because people were looking for love at this age, right? When you were 12 years old, you were ripe for marriage. 12, 13 years old. Hey, go out there, get yourself a wife. Go out there, get yourself a husband. It's about that time. You're going to die in like next 10 years. So go quick.
We got it. I need some grandkids.
Yeah, I need some grandkids before I die. And that's not going to happen unless you have them right now. Get on it. It was a completely different scenario back then, right? And so it just kind of makes me think about that and wonder, and if there's any way to tie that into how things are in modern times. It at least sets you at ease to know, what? Children, yes, children like ages 12 and etc. are still ripe for romance. They want to engage in having special feelings and things like that for another person. And I think that's super, super interestingly normal. And yet in our society, we try to hold it off and say, oh, not yet, not until you're 18, not until you're 17 or whatever. Whereas back in the day, all that stuff was like, yeah, you better hurry it up because you're already 13 years old and you don't have a wife, set up for yourself yet. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. But anyways, I was just buying time for Joe mostly. So Joe, no, I wasn't actually. I just wanted to talk about it.
I need more time.
Okay.
I was giving Black Eye Fat Lip the link.
Oh, all good. 15 is more accurate, Fat Lip says. That's fair. But yeah, it's just an interesting thing. I just imagine if we were back in the day, I guess we wouldn't be so picky. We wouldn't have to deal with them for so long because we'd die within 20 years anyways. But yeah, and then there used to be arranged marriages, which a lot of people think is like a terrible, terrible thing. But there is some beauty to behold in arranged marriage. Believe it or not, to be assigned a specific partner and learn to love them, even though you don't necessarily have the chemistry, you don't know if you're going to pair up with them well. You don't know their personality. And then one day you meet them and you are already engaged to them. There is a beauty in that because it requires a certain type of mental fortitude to say, I am going to do this anyways. And sticking through it and learning to love each other despite not having the initial force of that emotional pull that we're all so, taken by. Usually it's like you meet somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, I think I love them, right? And you have this feeling, but without that, you're just forced into a marriage and you don't even have that feeling. You're just like, I have to learn to love them or else I'm going to hate my life. So I'm going to learn to love them. And I think that there's beauty in that. Not saying that we should go back to that method whatsoever. I'm just saying that there is some beauty in that, and it really glorifies the capacity of the human heart. Anyways, now hopefully I bought some time for Joe.
I had enough time before. I was just
good.
Kidding.
Okay, go for it.
But I'm glad you mentioned that, because in a relationship, in a long-term relationship like a marriage, see, I'm married. So, I have some experience with some of this stuff. One of the things that, Ryan was touching on in the whole arranged marriages thing, that you learn to love someone, you're going to do that anyway. Because you're going to fall in love with someone, and that's just like hormones and all kinds of endorphins and, all kinds of stuff going on in your body. And you're like, oh my gosh, you get that in love feeling in this amorous whatever, right? But what happens is that goes away. And then you got to work together. It fades. That type of love comes and goes. It kind of cycles through your relationship. And the key is, you're going to learn to love someone when you're in a long-term relationship like that. You're going to have those feelings. And then if you break up when those feelings end, then you had a great experience, and it maybe helped you grow as a person. But after you make a commitment to say, I promise to love you for the rest of my life, for better, for worse, for rich, for poor, all that stuff, like you make those vows in front of, God and country and all your friends and family and everything, then it's like, okay, now that feeling's gone. I don't have that love and feeling anymore, like the Righteous Brothers song or whatever that is. Now it's the work. I'm deciding to love this person. I'm making a choice. Because that's really, it ends up being a choice to desire the best for another person. And then you decide to live that choice, right? So, okay, that's a little bit outside the scope of your topic, but I did want to mention that because I think we put so much glory on falling in love, and then we get married, and then the sun sets on the movie, and it's the end, right?
Yeah, and you don't want the movie to continue anyways because it's all downhill from there. No,
oh my gosh, it's crazy. It gets nuts after that.
It does. It's like a whole nother movie is what it should be, right?
It is. Yeah, exactly. It's like the sequel, right? But so I want to make sure you understand that that's normal to have happen. And the point is that you're going to learn to love someone. If you do get married, you're going to learn to love them for the rest of your life. You're going to learn new ways of loving them. You're going to find new ways that they annoy the daylights out of you for the rest of your life. You're going to discover new things that they're good at that you didn't even realize. You're going to find new quirks. It's amazing. You learn about a person when you're in that relationship with them. So here's the point, though. Like, your question is not about that. Your question is about, okay, you get these feelings for a person. It starts with a friendship, and that's great. That's where things should start, right? We should be friends. And then progress into, oh, I kind of think I have feelings for this person. And that's a normal progression too. That's great. But then if you jump the gun, actually, I see one of the things where you talk about, you put them on the highest pedestal possible, and moving on because they don't like me back, rightfully so. But I'm doing everything I possibly can to make them happy. and wind up seeing that I'm utterly failing at making them happy, that is always what happens.
Preach. Preach.
I learned this. The more I try, I learned this with my wife. The more I tried to make her happy, the more she was unhappy. The more things I tried to do to make her happy, the more she was unhappy. It was amazing. Because, she knows how to make herself happy. She doesn't need me making her happy. And in fact, it's not my job to make her happy. That's between her and God. Just like for me. My happiness is not about whatever my wife's doing. Thank heavens. Because there are times when, man, oh man, I'd be really unhappy. But that's normal. Like, it's the same for her. But so my happiness is an inside job. It's up to me. And it's up to me. And I rely on God for that. Now, here's the thing. How do you do this? Like, okay, so in order to solve this problem, you've become reclusive. And as an introvert, it's easy to do. I know, because I do the same thing. I recluse myself. Is that even is recluse a verb as well? Reclusify.
Yeah.
I'm
all words are words on this
recluse.
channel.
Okay, good, perfect. All words are words. Phlebotomy. That was kind of like phlebotomy and
yeah, it was
something else.
phlebotomy. That was pretty much just phlebotomy. It was just a new version of it.
Right. But so it's okay. So it's not your job to make them happy. Okay? First of all, you can enjoy being in their company and you can like them. But understand, it's not your job to make them happy. You can do things that they like buy flowers, if they like flowers. I learned that my wife doesn't like flowers. So I don't buy flowers, which is great.
Seems like her.
Yeah. She doesn't like flowers.
She just doesn't. She's kind of hipster, so she's like, no, girls like flowers. I don't like flowers.
Right? That's kind of how it is. Yep. Yeah. She likes cage fighting.
Yeah, that's exactly. See, I knew it. Buy her a cage fight. Buy her 2 roosters, man. No, I'm just kidding.
Which is hilarious because she'll be in the other room with her dad watching the football game, and I'll be in the kitchen with her mom washing the dishes. Like, it's hilarious. But at any rate, so here's how I've found peace, because I've made these mistakes too. Okay. Your last question. My question for you is as follows. How do I solve the problems that I always cause when I start out loving someone with good intent, but then twist it into selfishness? That's another thing that if you get married, you will deal with all the time. Throughout your entire life, you will be going through phases of, okay, do I really love this person, or am I doing this for my own benefit? Right? We go through these things, and when we detect that selfishness, that's good. It's good to have your antenna up enough to be able to detect when you're being selfish. So here's what you do. When you find yourself being selfish, you repent. And you don't have to repent to the other person. Just in your heart, you say, oh my gosh, this is wrong of me. I'm sorry that I'm doing this. I'm going to try not to do this again. I resolve to change, to not do this, to not act this selfishly again, right? But here's the thing. We find new ways of being selfish all the time. And so the key then is, when you detect it, repent. Don't beat yourself up. Understand, you are not your selfishness. That is not your identity. That is a separate event. And when you repent in your heart, you separate yourself even further from the event. It's like you take that event and you detach it from you, and then you can be free from it. So then, because this is all an internal battle, now that you've repented and you've been like, okay, I'm sorry that I did this, and again, this is something that you do not have to share with anyone else. This can be done all inside you, in your head, in your heart, right? I'm sorry I did this. I resolve to not do this again. And then you can forgive yourself. And you can say, okay, I forgive you for doing this, and that's great. So you have the repentance and the forgiveness. Now, if you believe in God, I would say look up a good act of contrition prayer. There are good ones. A lot of times they go like, my God, I'm heartily sorry for having offended you. I detest my sins because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell. Most of all, because I offended you, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve with the help of your grace to confess my sins, to do penance and amend my life. Amen. I've said this so many times because
It's
I
very
spend a lot
impressive,
of
Joe.
time in confession. And in fact, I say an act of contrition every day because I detect things that I'm doing wrong every day. And so because of that, here's the thing. I do this all the time. I repent of the things that I do wrong, even the little things. And the reason isn't because I feel all guilty all the time. It's not like I'm stricken with guilt. And so then I have to do these acts of contrition. Now, there are times when I do things that are gravely wrong and I do feel guilt, right? And then I do need to, make some kind of reparations for sure. But doing that little act of repentance for even the little things leads to an inner freedom that you wouldn't even believe. It's amazing. Because you realize, like I said before, you are not your sins. You are not your errors. You are not your selfishness. You are separate from those. And when you recognize that that's something you did that was wrong and you repent of it and you resolve, I'm not going to do this anymore, you free yourself from it. And then you can be comfortable whether you're in isolation, whether you're with other people, wherever you are. You can experience that inner peace through that repentance. So I hope I didn't get too religious with you. I tried to keep it where, so if some of you guys are listening that aren't religious, I hope, because this is universal. This is an inner battle that we will all fight. And it doesn't have to be religious. But when we do something wrong, we express sorrow in our hearts for it. And it frees us. It's amazing. So anyway, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan. I've talked a lot. So Ryan, take it away.
I wouldn't mind if you keep on talking. All right. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting problem because, as I said, it's super relatable. I know in my life, there were times where I had a big interest in a girl and it caused me to act differently, caused me to go out of my way just to be around them. I remember specifically and intentionally like trying finds to wait in an area or just position myself somewhere so that I could be near the person and I would still like not interact with them whatsoever. Because I was super shy, but I just wanted to experience them more. But in any case that I actually was able to, if I was close enough to be friends with them or whatever, and I started to have feelings for them, a lot of times how I expressed myself would ultimately cause me to kind of push them away more than attract them. And the thing was, I found I was trying to be impressive I was trying to coerce them into enjoying me. I was trying to be enjoyable. I was trying to, catch them. And that made me so much more unattractive. Here's the thing. You don't impress people by doing impressive things. You impress people by showing they've impressed you.
Mm-hmm.
You impress upon them that they mean a lot, not by, oh my gosh, you're so awesome, and you do this, and you do this, and these are cool things, and I'm a nice person for saying those things. No, instead, it's more so, yeah, I agree. Oh, wow, that's a really smart thing to say. Yeah, I agree. And you just listen. And you let them know if they do something that you are impressed with. Of course, you want to acknowledge that they're awesome, right? But you have to do it in a way that makes it valuable. Here's the thing. I can have a 3-year-old come up to me and go, "Wow, your art is amazing." And I'll be like, "Thanks." And I could have a professional artist come up to me and go, "Wow, your art is amazing." And I'll be like, are you sure? I don't think so. No, you got to be lying. No, it's not very good. And then I'll go home going, "Oh my gosh, they said my art is amazing. I feel so awesome." Right? The difference there is how much respect I have for them, right? So if you compliment somebody, but you haven't already earned their respect, your compliment is kind of dry. If you compliment someone else on something that you're good at, it makes it valuable, right? But if you're not good at it, it's still okay to compliment them. But where is the respect coming from? That they know your compliment means something, right? It's one of those things where, and the reason I say all this is because it ties into your overarching issues. The issue there is your interest shows. In how you speak and how you hold yourself and your body language and your words. These things are really, it's really telling. It's really showing when you are attached to somebody. And they might not recognize it as attachment. They might not recognize you liking them, but they will feel put off. Mm-hmm. Because there is someone who is aching for their attention in a particular way without necessarily them wanting to give any. Mm-hmm. It's like me. It's kind of like when I come up to you and I say, "Hey, I've got a 7,000 square foot house, and I need you to clean it. It's super dirty. I need you to." It's like growing mold and stuff. So you're gonna have to spray all the walls. You're gonna have to scrub the heck out of them with scrubbies, and then repaint them. And then sweep. You're like, "I don't want to do all this for free." No. What? I don't want to do all that work. Why would I want to do that? It's the same thing. You're going to them and you're like, "Hey, give me attention." Even though it might not come off across those words, it might not necessarily be what you want to say or necessarily even how you feel, but somewhere deep inside, you're spending time with them to get them. You're spending time with them to reap their joy. To take them into yourself. And it's kind of this weird thing. You can do that in a positive way and you can do it in a kind of negative way. It depends on if you're being selfish or if you're enjoying time with them. It's a bit weird. It's a bit messy, but a lot of it relies on your intentions. What are your intentions? And your intentions could be good at first and then they turn sour and then that's when things go sour. So you have to make sure that you don't, like you said, you just kind of get attached, right? And so what happens then? Right? How do you hold yourself? What do you do at this point? Because you realize, okay, when I get attached, this is the outcome. They start to not like me as much because I'm too close. I'm asking for too much. I'm spending too much time with them when they're not asking for that. And I'm being too much in their face and all this kind of stuff. Like, I get it. I've been there. So what do you do to hold back? One thing that could help a lot. I say this. Okay, bear with me. Pretend you have a girlfriend. Now, don't pretend to them like you have a girlfriend and say, no, I've got this girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. Don't make up a story and lie about it. Right? But treat everybody else as if you're already in a committed relationship and you can't get into one until they've opened up to you. Because I can guarantee you're going to open up to them before they open up to you. That's just how you're going to be. Not all guys are like that, but a lot of us guys are like that. So pretty much if they come up to you and they're like starting to look like they like you, then you probably already like them at this point. But if you can just say, no, I'm holding off on relationships because I'm already in a commitment. My commitment is not getting in relationships. So by doing it's like pretending I have a girlfriend, you know, I'm sorry, I can't date you. Here's the thing. I know that's really hard, but it does a couple of things for you. One, the way you come off to other people is more responsible and more attractive and more respectful. And those are really important. When I started dating somebody, I know this is kind of unfair because I actually had someone to date, but hear me out. When I dated a girl, she lived in Canada and I lived in Michigan. So we lived like 8 hours apart. I got into a relationship with her, and within that year, 3 people suddenly, I never had anybody like me before. Suddenly 3 other people liked me. Okay. And then another year went by, and again, I'm not trying to brag because it was an awful situation. I'm just trying to tell you how things went. Okay. I won't use numbers. A lot of girls liked me. Okay.
A lot of girls always like you, Ryan.
No, it's not always true. Just drop detective.
Man, oh man, do not drop detective.
Yeah, he'll scold you.
Oh my goodness.
I
He
didn't
can't
like
solve
that.
the case.
See
if
that?
he's on the
He got
floor.
wordy with me.
Right?
Oh my gosh, that guy. Okay. Anyways, okay. I'm just gonna say a lot of girls like me. Yes. Thanks for telling me where I was at, Marshmallow. So my point is this: when I was in a relationship, I stopped looking at girls as potential mates. I stopped looking at girls as potential people I could get into a relationship with. And instead I just treated them perfectly fine as friends. Mm-hmm. Like actually standoffish friends. Cause I really don't want to get too close to you. And I see you're coming on to me, and that's fine, but I have a girlfriend. And I'm not the only one that's had this experience. A lot of guys have this experience, and it's to do with your confidence, and it's to do with how you treat women. When our emotions go crazy over a girl, we treat them a specific way. And it might be like, how could it be wrong for me to treat them like, oh, you're like a goddess. You know, I give you so much. I give you all of my time. I will give you any presents in the entire world. I will go to crazy lengths for you. Right? How is that not super attractive? The answer is it's just not. Mm-hmm. It's not. Actually, when people do that for me, it puts me off. Why? Because it doesn't make me feel like there's someone I can chase after myself. When someone
make a note of that, don't help Ryan anymore.
Yeah, you don't. I want to look at somebody and go, that's someone I can chase after. That's someone I have to catch up to. That's someone that demands my respect because they're so impressive, right? When there's someone like that, that makes me want to try hard to catch up and to get their approval and to, that sort of thing. If it's on the other end where I'm looking at the person and I don't see them in that kind of light, if I don't see them in that way yet, and they are giving me all this stuff, fawning over me or whatever, it then becomes the opposite. It becomes, Like, I it seems like you're trying to get a relationship out of me, and no, I don't think that way about you. So I'm just gonna like kind of stop talking to you. That's kind of how we feel about it, right? So the thing is, you need to get the person to respect you before you can make any movement in this category. Now, of course, you're dealing with the lack of self-respect. In order to respect yourself, in order for other people to respect you, you have to have a level of self-respect.
Mm-hmm.
So the bottom line is this. Where's your self-respect, man? That's something I have to ask people. That's something I have to ask myself. And that's something, whether you're a girl or a guy, that's just a serious question that will really, hopefully, like just tune you up to the next, to like shape you up to the next bar and just say, hey, where's your self-respect? Like, what are you doing? Like, asking myself sometimes that will just, yeah, duh. What the heck? What am I doing? Let's get back on track. You know? If I'm chasing after a girl and I notice myself and I'm like, what? Where's your self-respect, man? Where's your dignity? You know, where is that what you're worth? No. And then by just by saying that to myself, I can get myself back in line. And yeah, there's a little bit of guilt there, but you know what guilt is? It's the seed which is about to bear fruit. Guilt can be many things. Guilt can be the devil's playground if you let it. Guilt can be a redeeming factor. Guilt can lead us in the right direction. But here's the thing. You need to make sure that you're using your guilt for the good and getting on top of it as fast as possible. So if you're worried about, again, go listen to what Joe said. He had a lot of great things to say about this. But if you're worried about your guilt, this guilty conscience, because you're taking something and you're making it selfish, here's the thing. It's not a sin to be selfish. It's not. It can be, right? It can be, but it's not always. We have desires. Those desires are good. They were built in us. We have dreams. Dreams are generally selfish, where there's something we want for ourselves most of the time. But that doesn't mean they're bad. I have a self-interest in helping other people. Doesn't mean that my selfishness is a bad thing, right? It's a good thing in that context. It's good. So here's the thing. It's okay to want something for yourself. It's not okay to want something at the expense of others or to want bad things for yourself or for others, right? So if you can look at yourself and say, you know what, I'm not so bad. I just wanted this person to be in my life really bad because I really value them. And I seriously crave this relationship I could have with them, this idea. That's all good and normal. That's good stuff, right? It's just a matter of, one, what are you doing with it? And if you are not respecting them and respecting yourself, if you're throwing away your self-respect to get them, you're throwing away all your potential with them. Does that make sense? I hope everything I said up to this point made that make sense. And that is, if you are throwing away your own self-respect to try to win them, you're throwing away all your chances of winning them. And I don't mean winning them like get the girl, like they're some item to achieve and win, but you know what I mean. You're not going to find yourself to be able to spend time where they are enjoying you, because your self-respect has been thrown out the window. So you need to make sure that your self-respect is first priority and they become the second priority to that. Does that make sense? Because if you don't like yourself, how can you expect them to? It's interesting. So anyways, I'm gonna move it back over to Joe. Joe, do you have anything you want to add on to that?
I do. Because then what happens? What happens when you admit to yourself, okay, so my self-respect is in the toilet?
Mm-hmm.
Now what? I don't have any self-respect. And so, like, when I ask myself that question, there were times in my life when I would ask myself the question, where's your self-respect? Or somebody would ask me that question, and it would just demoralize me even further. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, oh my gosh, I have no self-respect. And then I'd be like, well, in that case, well, what's the point? You know, now I have even less self-respect because
Sure.
I have no self-respect, and that's not a respectable position. And so now I have less.
Yeah, now I just hate myself more. Thanks.
Right, exactly.
Thanks for pointing out my flaws. Now I notice them even more. Great.
So
Yeah.
then what do you do to build it? Because like Ryan said, and self-respect is one of the main keys to success in a lot of different areas of our life. And in fact, it's a key to, you know, fulfillment. It's a key to inner peace. It's, you know, like to respect yourself as a human being of infinite dignity
Mm-hmm.
is, you know, I mean, that is so key. Now, every single one of us, regardless of who we are, where we were born, what anything, has infinite dignity because we are a human person. And there is no one else like you. Now, some of us have done some horrendous things. Some of us have done some horrendous things that, you know, need to be, you know, there needs to be justice for those things. And I've had friends that have done things that were against the law, that ended up in jail, that had to, you know, pay their debt to society, you know, as such. But even those people who have done horrendous things to others, they still have that infinite dignity. They just need to make reparations for what they've done. And in some cases that involves the justice system. In some cases that just involves an apology. In some cases that involves giving somebody back something that you've taken. Sometimes it involves, you know, you know, there's infinite number of things that it could be, right? It depends on the situation. But so how do you then regain self-respect when you've lost it? And the key is in another bit of Ryan's advice, and that is to pursue virtue. What, you know, and you can find virtues. You know, if you just Google virtues, you will find them. You can Google the cardinal virtues. You know, you can Google Ben Franklin's virtues. You know, there are lots of different virtues you can find. And then you just pick one. And you start working at it. And you start trying to get better at it. And what happens is, because you're pursuing good, your conscience recognizes this. And it leads to a higher level of self-respect, because it's like, hey, I'm actually doing something good. I'm doing something that's respectable. And so therefore I respect myself more. Here's another thing. For me in particular, one thing that's critical is exercise. I've learned, you know, I mean, it took me years and years and years to figure this out. I wish I'd started years and years and years ago. But physical exercise has, you know, for me, it solves so much of this little nonsense, and then leads to more self-respect because, you know, hey, I'm actually doing something and I'm accomplishing something, and it's great, you know. And it also exerts energy. I'm a fairly energetic person, I think. I've been called a ball of energy by people.
I think you're more like a ball of light.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, light just kind of exudes energy. You're just a byproduct. That's just a byproduct of your natural state, which is a ball of pure light.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now I have more
heat.
self-respect. Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah.
And heat, yes, because I like the winter. because it's cold, because I have too much
That's
heat
why.
in
Yeah,
myself.
see. And the snow reflects your beauty. Okay, I get it.
Yep. So it says, I just started jumping jacks breaks from studying. That's awesome. That is awesome. And I think that's something I'll continue. Absolutely. You
Yeah.
know, and if it gets to the point where you want to challenge yourself, I would encourage you look up a guy named Igor Voitenko. I just got reacquainted with him because he released a new workout program. All of his stuff is free. And it's like way effective. And it doesn't require any equipment. And you can do it in the space. If you can do a snow angel on the floor, you have enough space to do these exercises, right?
It's
Now
doing
you
a
don't
snow angel on the floor, one of the activities.
know.
I was
But
hoping.
there are
Okay.
exercises where you're doing that type of motion,
Oh, okay.
so like that's why, like
Okay.
yeah, thanks, Princess. Next workout. That's his channel. If you go to igorvoitenko.com, the programs are. And it's really cool because you just click on whatever day it is and he gives you maybe it's one workout, maybe it's two, and you just, work out with those videos. And he makes his money through the views on the YouTube, so he doesn't have to charge anybody for his programs. I've paid lots of money for workout programs before. And one of the most effective ones that caused the least amount of injuries was this guy, and it's free. And it doesn't require any equipment. And I'm like, dude, this is amazing. But at any rate, you're exercising, that's great. That will lead to more self-respect. And it will exert energy, so then you won't have this pent-up energy that feels like it needs to be released on another person, I guess, to some degree, for lack of a better way of saying it. But now, like for me, it calms that. Well, I'll just say it flat out. It calms lust. It does.
There you go.
It leads to less lust. And really, when you look at a person with selfishness, when you desire a person for you, that's really what lust is the desire to use another person for yourself. And it can be bodily pleasure. It can be, gaining materially. That is what lust is, the desire to use another person for your benefit.
Right.
It's generally thought in terms of the bodily pleasure, realm. But yeah, anytime
Yeah, it extends
look,
to all natures of using somebody else for yourself. That's really the thing. It's not selfishness that you necessarily have to completely evade. It's not a sin, as I said, it's not a mortal sin or anything like that. But lust, on the other hand, is, because it is the act of using someone for your gain, usually generally for your own pleasure, whether it be physical or mental. Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, Marshmallow, that's a very interesting question. When are we going to get Static P or CDVNL exercise tapes? I actually just finished designing a workout program for people who haven't worked out in a long time, to kind of like an on-ramp
I'm
to
excited.
some fitness. And I'll be starting to film those tomorrow or Friday, I think.
Really? This soon?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have to edit them and stuff.
Yeah,
and
I know.
do
I know.
all
It
that
was going to be a
stuff,
while
but-
before they get out, but I'm just happy.
Yeah, but I'm designing them. It's been requested of me to create something, and so I've taken some of the knowledge I've learned from all these people and designed something.
He was making a joke. No, I guess he didn't know. We've been talking about it for a little while.
They will be on YouTube, and they will be free, and they will require no equipment. That was my goal. I want it to be free for people to exercise.
Yeah, that's great.
But at any rate, all that stuff, that's all I had to say. Virtue,
Yes.
exercise, those two things help with the self-respect. And Ryan, you probably got more.
I'm gonna leave it with that. I think that makes sense to me. I don't want to make it too complicated, But yeah, you want self-respect, then do the things, simple as this, do the things that you would be proud of. If you look at yourself and you go, wow, I want to be the guy that does that. Well, do the things that kind of guy would do. Do those kind of things. Your heart is telling you. If you ever see anyone and you're looking at them and you're like, wow, that's so cool. They have such a good heart. That's your heart telling you, hey, I want to be like that. You do those things and you'll have more self-respect. Also, fasting can help with self-respect a lot as well.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go for it. What are you laughing about?
Our screen froze.
Oh, did it? And what kind of
Yeah.
position are we in?
You're kind of a normal one, like you're saying something. I've got this face like this.
Oh no.
If you go to it,
I have to go look now.
someone's screenshotting. Who's that? Black Eye Fat Lip saving the image.
Saving the image. Oh, we look great, dude. We look totally normal.
That's my normal face.
No, I'm just saying we look good with these positions, you know?
So is anybody gonna be able to take me seriously now when I'm talking like with that face?
Well, okay, I can't say anything sad anymore because then they'll think like I'm saying it with an excitement. All right. Big
Oh,
oops.
that's awesome. Jesse says in our other chat, the in studio chat, he's like, "Thanks OBS, you're awesome." One of these
OBS
days
is
we're
a-
not going to be using OBS anymore. We're going to be using something else. Saula asked, "So is being manipulative equal to being lustful then?" Not necessarily. Being lustful can lead to being manipulative, but being manipulative doesn't require lust.
Right.
You know, they can go hand in hand, but they are not the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's the thing. Manipulativeness is an interesting thought because it's such a wide spectrum. For example, me going up to you. Okay, let's say this. I'm walking down the street and I see this guy and I'm like, that guy's got some really nice pants. And I tell him, hey, I like your pants. They're pretty awesome. And he looks down, he looks up, and he looks at me and he's like, thanks. Right? I was technically manipulating him. Right? I was trying to make him feel good about his fashion sense. I was trying to make him happy. I was trying to please him, right? And I'm technically manipulating his emotions by saying things to him. So in those cases, that's not bad. When you understand people, when you know more about people and their personalities, you can be free to manipulate them in that way. But your manipulation is to get the best outcome from them, not necessarily to get the best outcome for your own sake. But usually those line up. Usually it's a win-win. So if I help them out, it kind of just helps me out. The relationship gets better and they're happy with me. And so I'm happy. You know, those type of things, they just kind of come. Then there's manipulative on the, like, you know, the, like when you're in a relationship and you are, I guess, intentionally withholding something from them so that they, you know, get antsy and anxious, and your intention is to bring out bad feelings in them so that they'll remain attached to you. That's, again, then that is something of lust. That is doing something bad to them, which is not okay, right? So there's manipulative is kind of like a really broad term, and that's why I kind of choose not to use it, because we can be manipulatively good. Especially the more you, like, for example, we have a friend named Steve. This is a classic example. Steve is in Black Static. I swear if he works with us, he does music. Joe, knowing Steve's personality, was like, basically he's just said, you have all of these, like, I have a bunch of songs for you to write. Like, it'd be really cool if you write them, but you probably wouldn't be able to. So I'm not even really gonna, like, I'm not even gonna try to test the water.
No, it was just one. It was
it was one song, right? You probably can't even get this one song, right? And so because of his personality, he took that and said, oh, I'm gonna prove you wrong. And he made, like, how many? 4? 3?
He wrote
Okay.
3 songs. He took his guitar And he was like, I'm going home to my parents' house, and I'm taking my guitar, and I'm gonna have some time to just hang out. And I'm thinking I might write a song, and I'm like, sure, if you can. I'm not sure if you can or not. And the funny thing was, it motivated him, and he knew exactly what I was doing.
He knew what you were doing, and it still motivated him.
He knew what I was doing, and he knew that I knew what I was doing. Like, this was all above board. He knew I was actively pushing his buttons for the sake of pushing his buttons. And it still motivated him. He wrote 3 songs instead of just 1.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the way some people work their personalities. You can just, if you know their buttons, you can press them and get the best out of them.
Now that doesn't work for all personalities.
No, it doesn't.
You gotta know who you're talking to.
Yeah. There are certain people you say don't do that and they'll do it. And there are other people you say don't do that and they'll be like, okay, I would never do that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. I have, like, for instance, one of my sons, if I say I don't think you can do that, he will take it to heart and think that he can't do it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
For Steve, it's like, I don't think you can do that. He'd be like, whatever. And he'll just go and
show
do
you. Yeah.
So, yes.
Okay.
Jeff.
Thanks,
Mosier
Jeff.
says,
Thanks for the clarification.
recluse is a noun and adjective, but verb if.
Verb it as you wish.
Verb it as you wish. Recluse. I'm going to recluse myself.
Yes.
To my room. Excuse me.
That is a proper use of the verb form of recluse.
And the funny thing is, I could do that right now and no one would know because the screen.
Except for that your audio would kind of disappear.
Well, I could yell.
Oh. Yeah, no one would tell. No one could tell the difference. No one at all would be able to tell that you.
It'd be like, you went across the room.
That's great. All right. Unfortunately, we're only able to get to 2. I was hoping we could do that third one. And I was like, we have enough time. But then I was like, the stream froze and all of this kind of stuff is going on now. We've derailed enough. And now we've only got about 15 minutes left or less. So I guess now would probably be a fine time to shut it down. But I'm sorry, Ash, we will be getting to yours likely next time. And of course, I see that Yume's here as well. So yours as well. And there's actually a couple more here. We've got one from Black Eye too.
The third one was it? Oh, it was Ash.
Ash.
We got Ash, Yume, Anonymous, Becca, Breaker.
Another one from Ash.
Yep.
Jesse and Black Eye.
We got Black Eye. Yep. So we've got a handful of you guys that are here. And we will get through as many as we possibly can next Wednesday, and hopefully we'll have something other than OBS. I'm column G-ing that right now.
Okay, column G it.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know, that's a meeting term. It's like a buzzword for Black Static and Swerve only.
Yeah.
We throw it into column G if it's something we need to talk about.
If we need to talk about, it goes in column G. We have a spreadsheet that we do our meetings off of, and column G is the random, if you think of something this week, put it in there.
Yeah.
So now column G is a verb.
That's right.
I'm going to column G that.
I'm going to column G that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, every one of you have a fantastic rest of your week. We hope to see you next Wednesday. And of course, on Free for All Friday, if you guys don't know about Free for All Friday, come join us. It's about the same time, but it's on Friday instead. And it is a lot of fun. Or, you know what? Apparently, because this works better, it's a terrible time. Please don't come. It's called Mandatory Friday, and it's awful. No one enjoys themselves.
No one.
Don't come.
It's terrible. It stinks. And
I'm not saying that because in light of the conversation we just had, but because we've literally done that at our conference call and more people showed up when we told them not to than when we did. So,
right. It's hilarious.
It is hilarious.
Don't forget, it's pinned in the chat. Check out the store. We're in our final days of the Inktober special. The book is 20% off. The Criminal Idol book. I'd hold it up if our screen was not frozen. But
I'll do it anyways.
You can go there, click the link. Click the link there. You can find the book.
Hey guys, this is the book.
When you check out, that's it. When you check out type in Inktober, and you could actually just copy paste it into the when you're at checkout, and it'll take 20% off. Free shipping in the United States, $10 shipping around the world. Do not forget, and it ends on Saturday. Well, between Saturday at midnight, which is Halloween. So I think for Free for All Friday, we should do something Halloweenish. Don't you think?
For Free for All Friday?
Yeah.
Is that gonna be on Halloween?
It's the day before Halloween.
Oh, then no.
Oh, never mind then.
I'm just kidding. Your wife would hope we would do something.
She would. Halloween is my wife's favorite holiday.
Yeah,
Totally.
I remember that.
She likes dressing up.
Yeah, we probably should do something Halloweeny on that day, shouldn't we?
dress
And
up.
Amira, by the way, I did read your comment,
Costume.
and I totally see what you're saying.
Dress up in
Makes sense. Although I think that there's a difference between the nature of lust and the nature of desiring what lust in the English term means to our society, because there's a way of going about your desires where you don't necessarily harm somebody to achieve them, or you're not, disregarding their dignity to achieve them, and that's all fine. So in those kind of cases, yeah, totally.
But I do agree that most everybody who has been in love with someone has also been in lust because of our human nature. We tend to do things to desire things without regard to the good of another person, and that, I mean, when we disregard the good of another, then it becomes an issue, right?
I think it's like a natural thing we come to, and then we just have to go, well, I have to make my choices from here, and let's make the good ones, just like anything.
Yep. So, but that is a very, very good observation, though, Amira. I really appreciate you putting that in the chat.
Yep. All right, guys. We love you, and we hope to see you soon. Hope to see you on Friday. Yep.
Halloweeny edition. Bunch of Halloween.
Bring your hot dogs, because it's gonna be Halloweeny. All right.
Love you guys lots.
All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.